In the final episode of Netflix's global phenomenon, The Queen's Gambit, a commentator looks at the fictional Beth Harmon and says, "The only unusual thing about her really is her sex. And even that's not unique in Russia. There's Nona Gaprindashvili, but she's the female world champion and has never faced men." Millions of viewers heard that line and moved on. But thousands of miles away, in the country of Georgia, an 80-year-old legend was watching. And she wasn't just offended, she was ready to fight. Because that one sentence didn't just simplify history, it erased the very thing she spent her entire life proving. This is the story of Nona Gaprindashvili, the woman who didn't just play against men, she conquered them. To understand the fire Nona carried, you have to go back to 1941, Zugdidi, Georgia. Nona was the only girl in a house of 6 children. In the Soviet Union, chess wasn't a hobby, it was a national religion. Her 5 brothers were obsessed. They assumed their little sister would be a spectator, a footnote in their games. They were wrong. By age 5, she was watching. By age 10, she was analyzing. By age 11, she sat down at the board and began systematically dismantling every one of her brothers, one by one. The turning point came a year later. Her brother was set to play in a local tournament, but fell ill. Nona stepped in as his replacement. The organizers laughed until she started playing. She didn't just win, she crushed opponents twice her age with a relentless, aggressive style that would become her trademark. The pastime was over. The battlefield was set. By 21, Nona Gaprindashvili was the women's world chess champion. In most stories, that's the ending. You win the title, you get the trophy, you go home. But Nona saw a problem. At that time, chess was strictly segregated. There was chess, and then there was women's chess. Nona didn't believe in the distinction. She knew that the pieces moved the same way regardless of who held them. She began doing the unthinkable, demanding entry into elite men's tournaments. She wasn't looking for exhibitions or friendly matches. She wanted the lion's den. She faced off against legendary Grandmasters, men who had never lost to a woman in their lives. She didn't just survive, she thrived. In 1977, at the Lone Pine International in California, she did what no woman had ever done. She tied for first place in a major men's tournament. 1 year later, in 1978, the world of chess changed forever. FIDE awarded Nona Gaprindashvili the title of Grandmaster, not woman Grandmaster, Grandmaster. She was the first woman in history to hold the same rank as Bobby Fischer and Garry Kasparov. Fast forward to 2020. The Queen's Gambit is the #1 show in the world. It's a story about a woman breaking barriers in a man's world. It's a beautiful story, except for that one line. She has never faced men. By the time that show aired, Nona had actually faced over 59 male Grandmasters in her career, including world champions. Netflix claimed the line was minor or fictionalized. But Nona knew better. When you are a pioneer, your history is your only currency. If you let people rewrite the beginning, they can erase the ending. At 80 years old, Nona Gaprindashvili sued Netflix for $5 million. But it wasn't about the money. She sued for defamation and the right to her own legacy. The legal world was stunned. Could a real-life legend sue a fictional show over a line of dialogue? The U.S. District Court gave a resounding yes. The judge noted that The Queen's Gambit claimed to be grounded in reality, and that reality included Nona. In 2022, Netflix quietly settled the suit. The truth had won. Today, Nona Gaprindashvili is over 80 years old. In an age where most people are looking for a comfortable chair and a quiet life, Nona is still at the board. She still competes in senior championships. She still wins. Beth Harmon inspired millions of girls to pick up a pawn, and that's a great thing. But Beth Harmon is a character written in a script. Nona Gaprindashvili is a force of nature written in the history books. She didn't wait for the world to tell her she was equal. She didn't ask for permission to sit at the table. She simply pulled up a chair, hit the clock, and proved it, move by move, year by year, decade by decade. The next time someone tells you that history is written by the winners, remember Nona. She didn't just win the game, she won the right to tell the story,